Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Shite Talks podcast show. I'm your host Mark Kearns with you on episode number 110 of the Shite Talks podcast show. And on today's show, it's all about comic books and TV shows and all of that sort of thing. On today's show, we will be talking about Lord of the Rings, a bit of news on filming around New Zealand. We'll also be talking about Saved by the Bell. That might be returning. If you're from the 90s, you will be very excited about that. We also have some Birds of Prey news, and we will also have Joaquin Phoenix talking about what it was like preparing for the role of the Joker. So I'm going to kick off with the Lord of the Rings, the TV show that is going to be coming out on Amazon Prime. It's set to start filming sometime in the next few months, really, and it's going to be the most expensive TV show ever made. Apparently, it's going to cost 1.3 billion New Zealand dollars. That's about 660 million pounds and 745 million euros. I didn't do dollars because I'll let you do that yourself if you're really interested. So it's 745 million euros is a lot of money for this show. It's going to be set in Auckland, North Island, on a few sites along there. Now, they did actually consider doing the capital of New Zealand, which is Wellington, but apparently they didn't have enough studio available space because James Cameron is filming 4 sequels of Avatar, which is 4 more than I thought he was actually working on. I didn't know they were making a second Avatar movie. Apparently they're making 4 sequels to the Avatar, and they're in filming, and they're using the New Zealand as their location for Avatar. I think the first first Avatar film was actually located in New Zealand, or at least parts of it was in New Zealand. Scotland was a frontrunner for actually a location for the new Lord of the Rings TV show, but lost out because of Brexit. So there's another thing that Scots can be angry at the English for. And in terms of where it's going to be falling in terms of the Lord of the Rings story arc, it's going to be set 3,441 years, which is a very specific date, before the lead up to the Fellowship of the Rings. This is like the first ever Lord of the Rings TV show, or no, not TV show, movie that was made, which I'm pretty sure everybody knew this. If you're listening to a comic book show or continue to listen to a comic book show, you probably knew that already. Talking about it, an expert on behalf of J.R.R. Tolkien said that the large majority of this kind of plot was not permitted for them to use during for this TV show. They weren't allowed to use a large majority of the plot, so they have to kind of create it of themselves. So even if you're very well up on the books, it's going to be different to the books because they just legally weren't allowed use a lot of the plot for this movie. Also, a little bit more controversy around this TV show is New Zealand itself. So when they were filming for the likes of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, there was murder and controversy over a thing called Hobbit laws, and which was pretty much prevented any kind of filming crew to like bombard tourist hotspots or to bargaining for tourist hotspots. They didn't want overcrowding on basically tourist hotspots, and a law was brought in to prevent it. And then this basically in 2010 led to protests about said kind of Hobbit laws. As well as that, Peter Jackson and Warner Bros. Both collectively threatened that they'd take shooting offshore if these persistent Hobbit laws were enforced. As well as this, New Zealand's new deal, the deal that they struck with the Lord of the Rings creators, was actually, it's going to be kind of a little bit controversially now. It's already been criticised, is because, like, since they were battling with a few other countries in order to get this TV show, New Zealand government stepped in and tried to kind of lure Amazon over to pick New Zealand as the location for this film, because it's gonna be like I said, it's gonna bring millions to the country. So what they have done to kind of sweeten the deal in order to pick New Zealand as the location for the filming of the TV show, they have basically given up, offered kind of rebates of 25% as well as subsidies, film subsidies to the producers of this Lord of the Rings TV show, in order to attract them there. It's been kind of described as international bidding using taxpayers' money. So it's caused a lot of controversy over in Parliament over in New Zealand. So it mightn't be the last time we hear about controversy maybe disrupting the set of Lord of the Rings because of DSO kind of lowering, using taxpayers' money tactics that was used to get the Lord of the Rings TV show to New Zealand. Moving on to Saved by the Bell. And Saved by the Bell, obviously, last year it was its 30th anniversary, which means you are all old if you grew up watching that. But I think it was started in 1985 or something like that. It was an 80s show, but became really, really popular for people growing up during the 90s because of the likes of Nickelodeon airing the show on that platform constantly throughout the 90s and early 90s. The show ran up to, I think, 2001. That's just off my mind. I think it ran up to I'm not reading this off a script around. I think it did run up to 2001, and it's coming back in 2019. Well, kind of a slight spin-off of it anyway. As actors, Mario Lopez and Elizabeth Berkley are returning to reprise their roles of AC Slater and Jesse Sampano, or Sampano even. And basically, it's going to air out on NBC's new streaming service called Peacock, which is horribly named. And they are looking also, this is coming from Hollywood Reporter, to be trying to lure the other members of Saved by the Bell into returning for this kind of reunion type of show. They're particularly interested in Mark Paul Gosselaar, who played Zach in the TV show, and he's going to be pretty important in order to get it, because the whole TV show kind of sounds like it's surrounded around Zach. I know they've confirmed Slater and Jesse for the show, but the whole plot of it is where Zach comes later, or governor of California, and gets in trouble because he closes down a whole load of poor schools or low income schools, forcing a load of kids have to be taken off Bayhigh's school, and so that creates overcrowding. And apparently, Slater and Jesse are basically parents in this whole thing, obviously sending their kids either maybe to a low income school or maybe to Bay High, and basically the kids get a reality check when lesser privileged kids come into their schools. And this is meant to be the plot of the Saved by the Bell reunion. I don't know where the rest of it, like Kelly and all them, or Screech, is going to fit into this TV show if it comes back, but still quite interested to see what it is. Hopefully, because I read this off RTE, which is Ireland, so hopefully they buy the rights of it and NBC isn't showing this Peacock stream service in Ireland. That would be brilliant for us because we can watch it, or maybe Netflix takes a hit on it as well. Basically, the writers for this new spin-off or return of Saved by the Bell is 30 Rock's writer Tracy Wigfield, and she's basically going to be showrunner, executive producer, and the original creator Peter Ingle and Francois Barrow are also going to be helping writing a few of the episodes as well. So that'll be interesting. They'll have a few of the original crew behind the show, as well as 30 Rock's writer Tracy Wilfield, which if you've ever watched 30 Rock, it's pretty good as well. Peacock will start its launch around April in 2020, so next year. So expect to see Saved by the Bell as maybe a front runner or a flagship show for that. Moving on to Birds of a Prey. This is basically a whole host of female-led directed movies that are coming out next year from the comic book world, both Marvel and DC. I think every single movie that Marvel and DC put out next year is going to have a female director. And Birds of Prey obviously will be one of those movies, as well as Wonder Woman is going to be another one of those movies. So they're the two big films that are coming out for DC Comics next year. And basically what we've got today is a few comic book fans being basically triggered because of the poster. Now, we haven't got a whole lot in terms of like trailers right now. We got a small little clip that didn't show us much of what the movie's going to be about. It's basically just like a teaser of what kind of characters it was. And late last week or early this week, they released a poster for the movie, the official poster for the movie, and it's basically how Harley Quinn sees the world, and it's like all these little angels floating right ahead, and basically are characters in the movie. And the reason why this triggered a lot of comic book fans was because Roman Sionis, aka the Black Mask, he's being played by Ewan McGregor, and obviously Ewan McGregor wanted to get a bit of face time during this poster, so everyone knows that he's going to be the Black Mask, and he didn't decide to wear said Black Mask, and that sent the internet into convulsions around the disgrace, and they're already calling out producers about how they're going to ruin the Black Mask. Now, if you remember, there's been a lot of misses in terms of DC Studios when it comes to villains. Lex Luthor in Batman vs Superman, the Joker in Suicide Squad. So there's a lot of people that are and even like a lot of people criticize their choice of villains in the likes of the Justice League. So they haven't got a recent great track record of doing really good villains for DC Comics. So DC fans have kind of they don't have any lot of trust in DC's ability to do a good villain anymore, and maybe that's why they're jumping to a conclusion. If you don't know who the Black Mask is, he was created in 1985 for a Batman comic. His story arc basically is that he was raised in Gotham City. His family was extremely obsessed about their public image and aligned himself with wealthy families. They used to own a makeup company, and after Roman went to marry a secretary or date a secretary, I think it was, he was basically refused to let him date or see the secretary because of her social standing. He grew to hate his family over this and murdered them, and even made a mask, which is quite mad, out of the coffin that his dad was buried in. And obviously the coffin was made of wood, which will be weird because of the story arc. Anyway, he went in and took his revenge over Bruce Wayne after he inherited a company and made products that would burn the skin. Obviously he wasn't testing on enough rats, or did, and just put them out there. Anyway, one of the deals for Bruce Wayne buying the company was that Roman would no longer work there. He probably didn't despise the wealthy in Gotham because of the way he was raised, and he ended up basically putting on this Black Mask, using his wealth to get a gang around Gotham City and taking his, like I said, his vengeance out on Bruce Wayne. During a battle with Batman, he was trapped in a fire, which sealed his wooden mask to his face. Which is, it's made of wood. If you're trapped in a fire, that thing would catch fire and would burn your face. It wouldn't just seal it onto your face. However, the whole idea of the Black Mask, his story, why a lot of comic book fans are annoyed around it, is because the mask is meant to be sealed to his face, which is why when you see him without the mask, that does make sense, because he's a Black Mask and he can't take it off his face. And that's why comic book fans are quite angered at this new Birds of Prey movie, because Black Mask isn't wearing a black mask, which is a huge miss if you're a comic book creator and you don't add that slight little detail, that important part. So yeah, that's what comic book fans have been giving out about this week. Also, while we're on kind of DC comic books thing, our final story is on Joaquin Phoenix. So basically, he's been talking about in the lead up, because I think it comes out around the 4th or 6th of October, so it's not too far away, maybe 2-3 weeks to go before the movie hits theaters. And so he's been talking about in a few interviews that I've been doing about taking on the role of the Joker, and it took on him. And apparently he really enjoyed his time making the character of the Joker. It wasn't a huge ordeal. Now we've obviously the lengths that Heath Ledger went to, and other people who played the character saying it took a real emotional toll in trying to get to such a psychotic character like the Joker, and try to embody his mind in a way a person like that would think. But apparently Joaquin Phoenix said he was grand. He laughed throughout the whole entire set. One of the things that was quite interesting, it was how he came up with the laugh itself. I know in an interview I think he gave with comicbook.com, he goes, this is on basically his time spent on set, and he goes, this is going to disappoint you. I think I didn't think I went to any dark places, so I had a good time, told Phoenix to comicbook.com. Honestly, I feel like either I'm going to disappoint you or I'm going to seem like an actor that is not really committed to your like. So anyway, basically, he was basically saying that, yeah, this is going to, in the interviews, it's probably going to seem like I'm really not interested in the character, but I actually laughed throughout the whole entire set. He went on to say where he got the laugh from, and he actually watched tapes on people who would suffer from a thing called pathological laughter, which means people would just break out in laughter at any controlled time, and they might be sitting on a bus, they might be walking through the street, they'd just start laughing for no apparent reason. So you watch hours and hours of tape of people like who laugh uncontrollably for no apparent reason, and basically apparently they even say that the Joker might suffer from this ailment in the movie as why he laughs so much. He also said that he's not going to have just one kind of laugh. It's going to be a different laugh for different times, but the more psychotic laugh that we hear throughout the trailer and near the end of the movie is going to be one of the Joker expressing pure joy. So that really psychotic laugh that you hear is going to basically be Joker really, really, really happy. So that's kind of obviously going down more the psychology route of character, and the fact that when he's laughing like that really psychotically, he's at pure joy, and it's usually when he's doing some sick shit. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there for this episode of the Shite Talks podcast show. I'll be back next Thursday with another show. Talk to you then.
Shut up and sit down.